Good evening and welcome to On Point, where we showcase the life and works of inspirational women wherever they may be. I'm Ellen Whippy, your host, and our guest tonight. She lived through the unthinkable. To find out your child has an incurable disease is every person's worst nightmare. Sina Kami used the pain of losing her daughter Tai to cancer 12 years ago. She used that pain to create a legacy in her daughter's name. Good afternoon, Sina, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. This is probably anybody's worst nightmare, and in most families, everybody's had someone that has passed on, and eventually we all are going to as well. But to have somebody so young, you know, a child who's yet to see the world, and the reason you brought them out is to see the world, experience it, and have a very successful life. But that wasn't to happen for your family. So, Sina, you've been through so much of it. You've come out of it very well in the end in terms of the legacy of ties. You know, the question that everybody must ask you is, how did this happen? You know, where were you at the time that this happened?
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and share the story. And we were in Tonga. That was back in 2005. Tai was only 12 years old, and it was started off with a bleeding nose.
Right.
And of course, you take her to the hospital, and they said it's normal for children, young children, to have a bleeding nose. But at the end, after going back and forth from the hospital, you know, the mother instinct that you say this is not right, and
because her nose kept bleeding.
Yeah, kept bleeding. And so from there, we decided to take her to New Zealand.
Right.
And after going through so many operations, and then we were told it was cancer.
Right. And what area of, what type of cancer did she have, and where did it most affect her?
Yeah, it was the cancer of the sinus.
Right.
And, it's a squamous cell carcinoma, and what the doctor was saying that it happens to the older people, and it's very rare to happen to a young child. But for Tai, she has to go through that, and for so many years, with all the treatment that she has to go through for 4 years. But at the end, it didn't work out. Eh?
Did they tell you that it was incurable from the very beginning?
Well, but when they told us, and of course, they keep saying, you know, it will be okay, you know, and this is thing. But towards the end, we realized, no, it's not gonna, you know, no matter how hard. And
as the years went on.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But you were living in Tonga then, and then you moved to Fiji.
Yes, we were in Tonga. And in 2007, my husband got a job here with IUCN, and he came in as a regional director.
Right.
And so we used that opportunity to take her away from New Zealand. But before we came here in 2008, we were going back and forth from Tonga to New Zealand for Tai to go through all the treatment, radiation, chemo, and all that. At the beginning of 2008, we decided to just bring her out and come here, put her in school, and see how far we can. But we came here in 2008.
So she came to Fiji and she went to school. What school did she go to?
We got her enrolled at international school, but the first week of us here in Fiji, I started to notice the cough. And it was the cough that we ended up at the hospital, and we were told that her cancer had spread to her lungs.
Right.
And that's when we went back home, she finished her song, planned her funeral, and everything from there. We changed the plan, and then we had to take her back to Tonga. Right,
but you know, this happened over a number of years, it was over 3 years, and I do remember being in Fiji at the time, and the publicity drive behind it was just absolutely amazing. That it all seemed like everybody in Fiji felt the pain that you were that you were going through. And you had other children as well.
Yes, we have Mia and Joy. At that time, Mia was only 10 in 2008, and Joy was only 4 years old.
And how did they react to it?
It wasn't easy, but I think Ty helped us a lot, preparing us. And she kept saying, "Mom, Dad, you know, I'm going. Please do this, because I'm trying to help you." And she kept talking to the sisters, and come here, you sing with me. Tell Mia, I believe in you, Mia. I believe you can sing. I believe you have beautiful voice. So it was Ty. Ty was very strong, and she made us strong too. And with the song that she wrote, it says it all, that the storm won't last too long.
That song, what were the opening lines to the...
Yeah, that song was composed at our Tamavua home, and it started off by saying that the storm won't last too long. Walk on, walk strong. When everything seems wrong, you hold on and walk on. And through the fear and through the fire, you will find your way out.
Right.
And that was her testimony. And
she wrote that song?
She wrote that song. We recorded here, the song here before we took her back to Tonga.
I have absolute major goosebumps just thinking about the wiseness of this child, and the illness of Ty. How did that affect the whole family system?
You know, when we were told, after so many times going back and forth to New Zealand.
Because she was 12?
She was 12.
Yes.
She was 12 at the time. And before we went back to Tonga, I mean, we were in the States. You had a little bit of money. You thought you're going to go build a house. But when she fell sick, we put everything aside, used all the funds that we have, took her to New Zealand and tried to, as a parent, try to go all the way, whatever you have and whatever resources that you have. Financially, it gets to a point that you have no more funds.
Exactly.
And the only thing that you can do, you have nothing to hide. You have to talk about it, share your story. And before we took her back in 2006 to New Zealand, we came out and told our story. We tell our story to all the people, and that's when people said, we are going to fundraise for Ty. And that was the beginning of something that we had no idea. The love and the support from people was amazing.
Yes.
And it looks like that spirit that started from that fundraising has moved on to what we're doing now with WoWs here in Fiji.
I think the magnitude of that fundraising was so big.
Yeah.
And I think it probably set a record other than funds that you need to raise for natural disasters.
Yeah.
But for a personal family issue, the way the people responded was absolutely amazing. And I think it was also, which is what I'm trying to say, is her message and the publicity around her and the strength that she showed in all those photographs, on the media, must have helped drive the passion that people had to come and show some support to you. We're talking to Sina Kami, the founder of WoWs Kids, about losing her daughter, Tay. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking to Sina Kami, who lost her daughter, Ty Kami, to a rare form of cancer. She used that pain to advocate for better support for patients of cancer. Sina, I can't imagine going through something like that, although I have done with my parents and with a brother as well. You left Fiji when Ty was 15 in April of 2008, and you went back to Tonga, where she later passed on in August. Why did you go back to Tonga?
When she found out that her cancer had spread to her lungs, she already asked us way back, if cancer comes back, I'm ready to go home, and I'm preparing for my funeral. This is what I want you to do, with no tapa, no mats. I just want flowers and teddy bears. So in April, we decided, okay, we have to take her home. And
Did you know at that stage that she only had a couple of months to live?
Yes, we were told about 6 months, but like I said, she made it easy for us, and you know, all of us, we have something that we fall back on. You fall back on your faith, you fall back, and that's what make it easy for us, because she was ready, and it's for us parents to accept the fact that she's going, and but she kept on saying, I'm ready to go. And then she said, take me home, and that's how we started. And then we started planning her funeral and what to do and what not to do, and yeah, but she was a very strong young girl.
How must it be for a mother to, first of all, to hear of your child having such a disease? The second thing is to hear that it is incurable, and the third thing, to know that you are going to lose her very soon. You know, what was it like for you?
You know, at that moment, it's the power of prayer and the power, you know, and she kept saying, Mom, there's always hope. I tell you, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. There were times I walk away from the hospital.
Were there times when you doubted your faith? Why Jesus? Why Lord? Why my child?
Yes, and I think everyone asks the same question when things happen to your child. And even Ty, she had an interview with Simpson, Simpson at 7, and he asked the same question. And Ty said, yes, I asked the question too. And maybe when I enter heaven, I will ask Jesus, why only 15 years? And for a mother, yes, you know, I do question, and you say, God, why Ty? Why us? Right? And there were times that you get the response from people and tell you, this is the reason why, because it's a curse, because it's this. And at the same time, you look at the face of your child and said, you know what? If I'm going to focus on what other people is saying, my child is suffering.
That's right.
I have to run, I have to crawl, I have to hold her hands and say, I'll run with you right to the end. Right? And for us, mother, we have to be strong and
for them.
Yeah, for them.
Yes. Well, you've done a pretty amazing job. Your whole family has. The support system around you was amazing. Who are the people that helped you most? Because you not only need the physical support, but you also need the mental support. And having a strong family system is undoubtedly the most important.
Yeah, I think that from a family point of view, you have to stand together with your husband, and also the two girls. We have to agree that Ty, we accept the fact that she's leaving us, and then we have all the family, the relatives surrounded us, the love of the community, the churches. It's not like I belong to this denomination. That's it. No, everyone counts, and they come and hold our hands and say, Ty it's more like Ty is trying to say to us, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm worried about you guys. And which she did that a lot.
What an amazing child she must have been.
Yeah.
What was she as a child before she became ill?
Ty was, she had her own little way of doing things, beautiful young girl. And somehow she found herself, she loves to read the Bible.
Oh, right.
And that's something that I noticed, that for a young girl like that, she kept her Bible, and even up to the day that she died, she told the Talatala that this is my Bible verse, and the Talatala asked, what is it? And said, if Galatians, chapter 8, and okay, what is the verse? The whole chapter. And that makes her strong, and she tried to make her strong too. And so it's her faith. It's her faith faith of a child that makes me as a mom, and also the father and the children and the people who have been supporting us make us strong. And I think that carries on to what we are doing now.
And so now you have your two daughters, two other daughters.
Yes.
And what was the impact on them after?
Yeah, it
Ty
wasn't
left?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I know, the sisters, and it wasn't easy. But like I said before, Thai made sure that we are okay. And there were times she asked, Mom, will you be okay if I leave? And there were times that I have to say to her, Thai, when you are ready to go, you go, because deep down in my heart, I know that you're not going back with a doctor or going in the nurse or grandma or uncle will look after you. I know the big man up there will take care of you. And he'll say, Mom, go rest. And I feel that's the little spirit of that girl.
One of the things now in life, she passed on in 2008, we're 11 years forward. Are there things in life, in your daily life, that remind you of her? Do you feel her spirit at times?
I mean, every mother will say that you lost part of you when your child is gone. But at the same time, yes, I do feel her presence. Every time I see a face of a child that, a young girl, and I said, oh, how lucky you are that Mom, don't take time for granted. Just give that person a hug, your child. And yes, she always reminds, everywhere you go, you always, there's something there.
Yes. So what kind of legacy do you think Thai would have left behind? I remember someone asked her what you want people to remember you by, and she turned around and she said, it's up to them. Oh,
it's up to them what they want to say about thing. But for me, it's her faith, and she knew what Mom and Dad can do, and that's why she made us promise that we would do something
about
to help the children.
And that was the early concept and the early idea of WoWs.
Yes.
And that has been a very successful program for you. What we'll do is we'll talk about that when we come back. In the next segment, we talk to Sina about the WoWs Kids charity, which has in fact earned her an Order of Fiji medal for her service. When her daughter Sina Kami passed on, she left behind ideas and dreams to help other kids like her. We're talking to her mum, Sina AHolelei Kami, about how she made that happen for Thai. This is a really lovely story, and it is one that I'm going to really say that I've really enjoyed this talking to you about your experience with a child passing on at such an early stage. And then you, for Li's Legacy, on behalf of Li's Legacy, you started WoWs, which has been so instrumental in helping many other children and really has had a very successful trip. What was WoWs and what does WoWs mean?
Before we left Fiji in 2008, she sat outside our house and she composed the song Walk On, Walk Strong, and that's where WoWs.
Walk On, Walk Strong. WoWs, yes.
And before she died, she kept on signing off letters to her friends, and she put Thai WoWs.
Oh.
And when we came back after the funeral, and someone was asking us, what do you want on the T-shirts, when we started to do the fundraising and stuff. And I said, she always used WoWs thing. And I remember Don Simpson, he was the one who said, just use that.
Right.
And that's how we started with using the Walk On, Walk Strong.
And it's really reverberated right throughout the nationally and in Pacific wide. So what is the objective of WoWs?
In 2015, we registered the Walk On WoWs Kids Fiji. But back in 2009, we worked closely with Fiji Cancer Society and tried to do fundraising using WoWs song to fundraise to help the children with cancer here in Fiji. And then in 2015, we registered as a separate organization. And we focus on children with cancer, and Fiji Cancer Society focus on adults. So so the service that we provide from WoWs Kids Fiji, we work very closely with the hospital, where CWM oncology ward. So if there's a child go in diagnosed with cancer, they will contact us, and we get the names from them, and then we provide the service. What we found out that a lot of children brought in, and they were told it's cancer. They go back and they don't come back.
They go home.
They go home and they don't come back to.
Why are they sent home if they've got cancer?
A lot of them can't afford
to stay in the hospital.
To come back.
To come back.
To come back.
Is that because they can't afford the treatment, or they can't afford the transportation from their home to the hospital?
Yes. And as you know, that the medicine is available, but it's bringing them from home to the hospital. A lot of them can't afford to pay for their taxi fare or bus fare. So that's one of the main service that we provide. So we make sure from WoWs Kids Fiji that we bring the children. So the nurses will inform us, these are the kids who have to be here. So we send the taxi to pick them up, no matter where they live. It doesn't matter wherever they are here in Fiji, we pick them up. And so from children from Singatoka, Gorodoa coming here, we bring them to CWM, and the rest of them goes to Lautoka Hospital. So the main service that we provide is transport. If there is medicine that it's not available at our public pharmacy, then we have to get it from the private pharmacy.
So you pay for that. You cover all those costs.
We cover that, because what we found out that cancer, the children with cancer, they come from families. I always say it happens to the poorest among the poor, and for us to help that, just the transport, some of the medicine that they needed to, they must have, and even some of them come into the hospital, can't afford to buy diapers because the child has to be at the hospital. So we are able to provide, shopping vouchers for that, phone cards, and so there are different type of services that we provide up to the day. If the child didn't make it, we help them with the funeral and to making sure that we take the body back to their family.
Sina, that is an amazing job. So is this your full-time
yes,
role now?
Yes, I can say that's my full-time for the past 11 years. I don't go back teaching. I focus on volunteer my time at WoWs Center, and also commit my time for the Tongan community.
So you actually have an office
We
space?
have a WoWs Resource Center on Railway Street, and we have 3 staff. They are the paid staff. We have a team leader, we have the assistant, and we have another person to help them with the work. And then I come in and we fill other volunteers and help whenever they
So what are the challenges in a role like this? Because, it appears that funding is just always hard to get wherever you are in the world. And, in a country like Fiji, it was still sort of rated as third world country. How do you get your funding?
What we do, we rely so much on the people from different organizations and whoever wants to support us. But what we do, we ask them if we could come and share our stories and what we do. So we rely so much on that, on funding from outside. And what we found out that the minute we tell our story about the children, and a lot of people not aware that we have a high number of young children with cancer.
In Fiji?
At any given time, we look after about 67 to 70 children from the resource center by providing the service that.
Has there been an increase in that number? Has it always been the case?
I think when we started, I remember when we started with a very small number. But what with the doctor was saying, because of the families aware that there is support, and then
so that's why they're coming out of the woodwork.
They're coming out, and also raising awareness on the early symptoms that we have. And that's part of the work that we do. That we try to get the parents look out for these symptoms. If your child is, with bleeding nose or bruises or bleeding or anything, make sure you take them to the doctor, right? And so that's what WoWs is doing, raising awareness, look out for the early symptoms, and please take them to the hospital. And if the doctor says it's cancer, then they give us the name and we provide the service.
Do you, through all of this, there must be challenges and there must be triumphs. There must be some success stories.
Yes.
Are there success stories?
Yes.
Meaning, are there children who survive?
Yes, but not many. Not many, and it's not because of, it's delayed. When you ask them to bring them early, most of them they look for herbal medicine and other stuff, and by the time they bring the child in, it's too late. So our role is just to provide the service on that. But we have a few cases that few survivors, but it's not like we wish that the number will increase as we raise more awareness on childhood cancer here in Fiji.
And do you have a telephone number that you can tell the audience, and if people want to contribute funds, what should they do? Let's talk about the telephone. Let's say mention the telephone number first, that they can ring the office and make an inquiry.
Yeah.
And what's that telephone number?
I think if you want to contact, you just call my number, and 902-6710, and also with the email wowskidsfiji@gmail.com. We have our Facebook. You can send us a message on that, and we will respond. And so we're free for anyone who wants to come in and talk to us about what we do and how you can support. But I'm just calling on the people on Fiji, in Fiji, to make sure that you just to look after the children and look out for any early symptoms, with like I mentioned, with the bleeding nose, bruises, and stuff like that, just to make sure that you take your child to the hospital.
Well, I always say this, that I wish we had more time to keep talking about this, because it's such an important subject. And I hope the audience out there that's listening has heard every single word that Sina has mentioned about children who are ill. Take them to hospital immediately. If you need help, she's given you the telephone number and the email address. And Sina, thank you so much, because I imagine she would have been a brilliant child if she'd been here with us today. Sina AHolelei teaches us that knowing loss and pain means we can help make it a whole lot easier for others who may have to go through the same. That was on point. We say good evening tonight, but also close the curtains to 2019. The year has given us the wonderful opportunity of bringing some extraordinary women to your living rooms. There is something special in everyone, and on point, we believe that every story can shine some light into our lives. From politicians to government leaders, from entertainers to community workers, from single moms to super moms, we will tell you their stories. Our goal this year was to highlight the lives and works of ordinary women whose extraordinary spirit can inspire. It has been very rewarding for us, and we hope you have enjoyed it too. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and on behalf of the crew at My TV and myself, join us again in 2020 every Monday at 8 p.m. for On Point.